You can see some of those winds pushing upwards. It says 30 miles per hour, likely around 40 to 50. And it looks like we do have they just extended it. Okay, so yeah, we've got that tornado warning extended now until 7:30. So got another half an hour with these. We'll continue to see if these can continue to produce, but this is now a radar indicated tornado that does include Winterset. So I'm going to zoom back in on this, and we'll keep an eye on this as it pushes its way to the southwest. On radar, you can see that area that we talked about continues to expand westward as these boundaries collide with each other. So that's going to continue to keep that risk for funnels and even weak tornadoes alive as we head into the next half an hour. And it may very well keep it alive beyond that, depending how these continue to interact. And you can see that one boundary shooting west and the one that's north to south. This one is again, a cold pool of air that's kind of rushing out from the surface that's been colliding with a little bit of warmer air to the west there. So Winterset, again, got to be in that safe space. Patterson, you should be as well. Ann, do you know the speed on that? Yeah, these have really been moving slow. The last couple warnings, we've had around 5 to 10 miles per hour for the speed. And again, southwest at 15, thank you. So I'll throw a storm track up here for you. I want to hop over to our shear tracker first, though, see if we can get, there's that area of rotation right there. So as this works its way southwest at around 15 miles per hour, Winterset, you got around 28 minutes if this can hold together. So again, this isn't going to be a large, robust tornado, but still, small funnel, it touches down to the ground, can do some damage. So keep that in mind as this works its way your direction. We've got that other area of rotation that we're seeing north near Norwalk that continues to advance southward, and you can even see some lighter rotation down near Martinsdale. We have had some reports of funnels down in that neck of the woods too. So zooming out a little bit further, keeping an eye on some storms that are southeast of Carlisle. Again, Carlisle had reports that were not even a report, a picture I got in from a viewer in Carlisle, had hail to the tune of around golf ball size. So very big hail associated with the storms that we have got southeast of the metro. And you can see southwest of Knoxville, a really tight little compact core near Knoxville right now. And that likely producing hail over an inch to the southwest of Knoxville. And the storms west of there, just to the east of Indianola, we've got another hail core. Could be around $half size hail there. Otherwise, we're talking about the potential for some heavy rain, very heavy rain, in fact. And then, of course, the trio now of tornado warnings that we have that are working their way along with the boundaries that we've been talking about just to the northeast of Winterset. So this has continued to develop, and what we'll likely see as this boundary advances westward, you can see this little black dot on the tip of that. So that is the air just being kind of shoved up, and that's going to be the most intense part of it. We'll likely see that collapse a little bit, drop quite a bit of hail, drop its heaviest rain, and then we'll see that area of storms, or the strongest kind of surge upward, advance its way to the west. So it's not really this storm moving as much as that outflow boundary pressing ahead and kind of bulldozing that other air upward. And you can see that happening right now. So we'll continue to watch this area for that. So it looks like we have transitioned these to a severe thunderstorm warning now for the duo of tornado warnings, confirmed tornado warnings that we had. So that, again, south of Norwalk, we'll take a look at your shear tracker and just see, again, some of those areas of rotation to the northeast of Winterset still active, but we've dropped off a lot of the rotation that we have seen near Norwalk. So we'll see if that continues to weaken, but look at all of the funnel reports we've had around this area. This storm has been a very prolific funnel producer, apparently, or just a lot of people have seen the same funnels. But we'll take a look at the storm working towards Winterset right now. Impact-wise, you can see the hail core just to the north of Patterson. That is a fairly stout hail core, and we've continued to see this line advance its way, or kind of grow its extent westward over the past half hour or so as these boundaries have continued to collide. So Winterset, you don't have any rain or any thunder right now. You can probably see it off in the distance, but as this continues to advance, this line right here, we'll likely continue to see this grow, and we may see this advance, that mass of storms near Martinsdale and Patterson advance to the southwest as well. So looking a little bit further to the east, you can see the core that's still fairly strong north of Patterson, northwest of Martinsdale. I'm going to hop back over to our shear tracker here. You can see those two areas of rotation. Still a little bit weak, but they're still noticeable. And we'll go a little bit further to the south here and hop back over to our velocities, see if we've got any strong winds rolling through here. Winds don't look too bad, but we still have a little bit of rotation going on there. So still just at least a little bit of a cause for concern as these areas of boundaries continue to collide and push throughout the state. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit further here. We'll be with you until this warning gets dropped off, or at least the threat gets dropped off. But as it looks right now, again, we still have the rotation necessary for the potential for tornadic formation. And we've got tornado spotted south of Earlham about 10 minutes ago now. So again, that was 10 minutes ago, but we're still talking about the same storms that we have got. And you can see that Earlham not too far off from that tornado warning polygon. And again, the areas that we're talking about for those areas of rotation continue to expand to the west. So kind of a unique situation. Honestly, I haven't seen that many situations like this since I've been here. We've got multiple boundaries colliding and spurring that rotation necessary for any tornadic development. So we'll continue to see what happens with this. But right now, we've had multiple confirmations of tornadoes with these, again, weak, short-lived tornadoes, but tornadoes nonetheless. And the storms that we've got to the east, Pleasantville down towards Milo, have weakened quite a bit, though still a stout storm down near Melcher, Dallas. Kind of want to take a look at that here. We'll take a look at the hail core, and you can see there's very large hail possible south of Knoxville. And as we go a little bit further to the south, we took a look at this storm near Sheridan a little bit ago to see how it was interacting with this outflow boundary that continues to push its way to the southwest. So it's not directly interacting, at least with the northwestern edge of the storm. It may be just on the southern edge of Sheraton there. So as we hop to velocities, there is a little bit of rotation there. Let's go to shear here, and you can see where that outflow boundary is interacting with the storm. Again, not probably enough rotation to get that to the ground, but I wouldn't be surprised if there could even be just a short, weak funnel there. Otherwise, storm near Melcher, Dallas now has a new severe thunderstorm warning on it, and that's pushing southeast of Knoxville. So again, the hail associated with this, again, around 1.5 inches possible as that core has really shot up even in the last 10 minutes or so. We've got Ann Campolongo here as well. Ann, I don't know if you want to hop on, if there's anything that you're seeing as well.
Yeah, hopefully they have my mic on. I don't have I think they do. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, we're good. We're good to go. So, just continuing to monitor these severe thunderstorm warnings. We had the new one issued for portions. We'll put on the Lucas County here. This does not include Sheraton, but we have gotten one report of ping pong sized hail in Sheraton. So hopefully if you're in any of these spots where you have the severe thunderstorm warning, you can pull your car inside to the garage as these continue to pass over you. So these cells, again, going until 7:45, so we've got another about 40 minutes or so of these warnings continuing here, and we'll continue to track those for you. We've got torrential downpours with any of these cells, especially where you see the purples that show up here. That's where we've got the heaviest rain kind of in the center of these cells. So right over Sheraton, just over Knoxville, and then back over into portions of Warren County up near Marion as well. That's where we continue to see some of that heavy rain. Rotation, as Jason mentioned, there's been some pockets. We've seen, again, several reports here of just funnel clouds popping up, several viewers sending in those photos, so we do appreciate that. But these cells not moving very quickly. Let me zoom out here too so you can get a better picture of this behind me. Lots of lightning with all of these cells here as they kind of sink slowly down to the south. As they do so, again, looking at hail and wind, the biggest threats with these, but of course we still have the one tornado warning in Madison County, and then that goes until, again, 7:30 this evening. So we'll keep a close eye on that, but so far, hail, the biggest concern here. Let's zoom into this cell just south of Knoxville. I know Jason touched on this one, just near Melcher, Dallas. radar, again, picking up that hail potentially could be upwards of 2.5, maybe 3 inches on the high side there in diameter. So quite a bit of hail along with the lightning, lots of lightning in all of these cells here. And we've also got, again, significant downpours occurring as well. So let me go just a little bit further to the south here. Let me clear my map. Again, hail core kind of increasing in size here right over Sheraton. So again, if you're in the Sheraton area, hopefully car, any valuables that are outside, moved inside, because again, we have gotten reports of ping pong sized hail here. So Sheraton not included in the severe thunderstorm warning right now, but you've got strong storms basically surrounding you. And then again, we keep the severe thunderstorm warnings for Madison and Warren counties as well as Marion County. Those go for a little bit longer here this evening. So I'll put this back into motion for you. This is going to be just a half an hour of time lapse here, so you can see how slowly these storms are moving, really not moving much at all, anywhere between about maybe 5 to 10 miles per hour. So ponding on roadways, very possible under some of this heavy rainfall from, say, Norwalk down through Indianola, right along Highway 65. And again, this really this core of this cell just south of Knoxville, looking like it's strengthening just a little bit. We'll put on the rotation tracker. And good news is not picking up much rotation inside these severe thunderstorm warnings. So that's good news there. We've got maybe a little bit of rotation just to the north of Sheraton along Highway 14. Otherwise, hail and wind, the biggest concerns here with all of these cells. Again, moving maybe 5-10 miles per hour here off to the south. So they're going to be slow movers, and they're going to be producing quite a bit of rainfall here as they do so. We'll query some of these rainfall rates for you here. Again, darkest purples indicate the highest amounts. We've got rain upwards of maybe 6 inches an hour to 7 inches an hour here, just radar indicated. So quite a bit of rainfall in a short amount of time. And again, these are going to continue to move off to the south here over the next 30 minutes or so. We'll keep with you here. We still have the tornado warning in Madison County. That does include Winterset. This was a storm Jason was keeping a close eye on. We'll go back to rotation tracker just to get an idea of what it's putting down. And it still has some areas of rotation here, basically right over Highway 169, just to the north of Winterset. And we had gotten a few reports from the emergency manager in Madison County saying he has seen funnels and those going to the ground as well. So definitely be in your safe place, lowest level of your home if you are in this tornado warning. And again, this is going to continue here until 7:30 this evening in Madison County. So we'll continue to keep on with that. And I believe they've got another severe thunderstorm warning just now for Lucas County. So that would include Sheraton. And that was, again, the cell that we are keeping our eye on. Lots of rain. This is where we've seen potential ping pong size hail from one report here from another meteorologist. So significant hail, Williamson down through Sheraton into Russell. You are included in that severe thunderstorm warning. So that's going to continue. Again, hail and wind will be our biggest concerns here. That warning goes until 7:45 this evening. So we'll continue to watch that closely. I don't think we've gotten any more reports here from the Lucas County area, at least from spotters or any of the public viewing. But we've got just, again, really a trio here of severe thunderstorm warnings. These are all just south of I-80 and point southward. They're going to continue to sink to the south here over the next 30 minutes or so with those torrential downpours, lots of lightning, and the potential, again, for tornadoes. Again, funnel clouds have been spotted all over here today and this evening, and that's still a potential here as we head into the next 20 to 30 minutes. So we'll keep a close eye on that. Jason, I don't know if you have anything you want to sneak in or you want to add, feel free as well.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we'll continue to take a look at the storm that we've got near Winterset right now. Again, had the funnel report up there, and we're continuing to see that line kind of grow to the west as we see this outflow boundary continue to shoot out to the west and, cause that storm development. So as we look at our shear tracker, again, those main areas are going to be where those boundaries are interacting. Still have some northwest of Martinsdale, and you can see we've got some now just on the far northwestern edge of that tornado warning polygon. So as we zoom in a little bit here on the northwestern edge of that polygon, you can see it's kind of messy, but important to note, we've got two boundaries here. One stretching from west to east and one roughly from northwest to southeast. And that's going to be the zone we're going to have to keep an eye on as these storms continue to advance that direction and as these boundaries continue to move around. Another thing to note on the storm that we've got to the south near Sheraton, we talked about this outflow boundary and how it may interact with this cell. Have to keep an eye on the southwestern edge of that. You can see this kind of little appendage we've got. That's likely where that storm is ingesting this area of outflow, and that could mean potential for a funnel and also the potential for some tornadic development. And as you look at your shear tracker, it's not that excited about it right now. So it doesn't appear that it is actually ingesting that right now, but something we're going to have to keep an eye on as we head into the next 15 minutes or so here to see if that does develop into something or if it just stays as largely a hail maker out there. But going back up to the north, look at how ridiculous this is. Look at all of the funnel reports we've had out there today. It's a mess from northwest Apello, western Grinnell, all the way up towards Perry, and now again down towards Winterset, where we've got that one tornado-warned storm, and we've got more out east near Iowa City as well. So hopping back towards radar here, just a lot of activity, and I'm going to turn the reports that we have gotten off, and we're going to take a look at see if we have any more areas of rotation that we haven't seen yet. Still seeing the ones off in Madison County weakening a little bit, but we look at southeast of Iowa City. Again, they've got tornado warning, and that storm that we've had out there has a little bit grown to the west. So we'll have to keep an eye on that to see if that starts to build back a little bit further to the west, and maybe that's something that we're going to have to think about here. So I'll hop back over and just kind of summarize what we've got going on. Again, tornado warned storm upwards towards Winterset. That storm has had persistent rotation where those areas of boundaries have been colliding. And otherwise, even back into the storm, you can see those areas highlighted in purple there. That's where we're likely seeing the heavy rain and the potential for hail. But we just got a picture in apparently of a funnel. I'm not sure where this is located, but there you see it, north of Patterson. So really kind of an ominous yet beautiful funnel. It's been pushing its way down towards the ground. Again, this is north of Patterson. Thank you, Andrea Groves, for sending this in. So that's kind of embedded in that area where we've seen that area of outflow work its way through the storm and cause enough rotation to see these clouds start to spin and put down a funnel. So thanks again, Andrea, for sending that in. And as we look at that area right now on your Super Doppler 8, just a mess of storm activity. We've got some spots with decent hail cores now. That's going to be north of Winterset. We zoom in a little bit further, and you can see that is just to the southwest of McBride. So McBride, you're still likely seeing some very heavy rain and even some small hail, but the main hail core is just to your southwest. And by small hail, I mean half dollar size hail would still put a dent out there, but you look north of Patterson and you can see that area of hail is fairly large size hail core with the bullseye of that highlighted in black there. So going back over to shear tracker, still seeing some elongated areas of shear. A lot of times as storms start to push out that cold pool of air, you can see that picked up on our shear tracker as that. So we'll see if that's what this is, but otherwise the areas where we've seen those boundaries colliding off to the west is where we're continuing to see the best area of rotation. And that right now sits to the northwest of Winterset. And storms continue to develop in that area. We've got lower level surges essentially that have been colliding, and that's just shooting the moisture back up into the atmosphere and causing these storms to fire up. And again, we've had a lot of instability in the atmosphere too. Not a lot for these storms to stay organized, but still a lot of instability for these to tap into, which is part of the reason why we're seeing the large hail that we are. So again, that core to the northeast of Winterset, that area of rotation that we have got just to the northwest of Winterset there. I'm going to hop back over to our shear tracker here, and we'll track out some of these areas for you. But again, that main area just right there, and you can see that has weakened just a little bit while we still have kind of elongated area to the northeast of Patterson, northwest of Martinsdale. I'll put a track on one of these little guys for you, heading to the southwest. They've been around 15 miles per hour. So that's where it would be headed. Again, not going to hit a lot of incorporated areas, but areas west of Winterset. you're going to have to keep an eye on this, and of course we'll do that for you as this continues to surge southwestward. And zooming back out, want to keep an eye on the wind threat too. We still have some very strong winds associated with the storms near Norwalk. And of course we've had those strong winds to the south as well, and probably stronger winds over Sheridan right now, where they've had that large hail. Again, hail to around the size of golf ball, and that's right over the top of town right now. You can see that little black dot. I'll zoom in on it for you, but that's where the biggest hail is likely going to be located, and that's just on the southeastern edge of town, 235th Trail, and that's 455th Lane where that heads into town as well. North 7th Street, so Sheridan likely seeing a lot of hail, likely seeing very heavy rain. And again, I'll take a look at our shear tracker here to see if we do have any areas where we're seeing that outflow boundary interact with this storm. And anything at this point would be very weak. So good news there, as we didn't see that storm ingest that and start to pull it up and rotate, as it's gotten even a little bit messier on the western edge of that storm. But still, very large hail associated with that, very heavy rain, as Ann had said before, likelihood for some ponding associated with that. We go northeast of there, take a look at the storm that's southeast of Knoxville. You can see that really tight core south of there. So I'll zoom in on that as well. We'll take a look, make sure nothing crazy is going on there, but heavy rain associated with that likely. You can see the black dot that we have got in the middle of our reflectivity there. Again, a nice little hail core that we've got anywhere from a ½ inch to an inch, maybe an inch and a quarter associated with that storm where the bright pink is located. And looking at shear tracker, not seeing any signs of rotation within this storm, so that's good news. I know you're going to see some ice chunks falling from the sky, but at least you don't get any rotating tubes making their way down towards you, as we've had for areas to the northwest here. And you can see they've got another severe thunderstorm warning. This from Winterset all the way westward towards Greenfield, as they're continuing to see these storms grow along this couple boundaries that have been surging their way to the west, and of course the one off to the south. So this warning is going to continue for a bit here. We've got that till 8 p.m. For Adair County, and again, that's portions of Madison County as well. I'm going to turn on the report tracker here to see if anything else has popped up, but still, just all of those funnel reports is what we're seeing. And you can see how far west they've made this warning as this line continues to grow, as these boundaries continue to advance. We'll see these storms shoot up. With the atmosphere as ripe as it is, it won't take long for them to be hail producers and wind producers. So I'm sure that's what they're accounting for with these storms that have fired up. So now that we've got a new radar update in, I'm going to put on the shear tracker here, and you can still see that little bullseye of shear that we've got right there. Again, that's kind of where those boundaries have been interacting with the storms that we've got that have fired up. So we still could likely see some funnels there. We'll see. We've got, about 11 minutes left on this tornado warning. We'll see if they decide to continue that. But again, with a lot of these, even if you're in a severe thunderstorm warning, with where some of these areas are likely interacting with the boundaries that we've got in place, could still see a brief funnel or even a brief tornado. But again, a lot of that activity would be relatively weak. We're seeing the storms near Norwalk to Indianola now kind of weaken a bit. Those cores have evolved westward, and that has meant the hail threat has gone that direction too, but a really stout hail core just to the northeast of Winterset. We'll zoom in on that. And you can see where that sits right now. That's Cumming Road, North River Trail. Large hail likely there. I'd say even 1.5 inch sized hail, golf ball sized hail possible with that storm as that has fired up and strengthened. So I want to hop back to a state view here, make sure there's nothing that I'm missing. I know I'm kind of hopping around a little bit, but you get in situations like this where we've got multiple storms. It's important to do that, as we could see more fire up as this area of storms continues to push its way southward. And it looks like, Ann, you've been taking a look at the rain totals that we've been seeing. Pretty prolific rain producers, these storms are, aren't they?
Right, and we've been talking about the torrential downpours, that tropical-like moisture out there. So when these storms kind of tap into it, again, they just suck up all the moisture and drop it back down. So these are rainfall totals here, just radar estimated from about the past 3 hours or so. And we've only had storms firing up since, say, about 4:30 this afternoon, and not everyone has seen the rainfall. But some of these spots here, this is into portions of Marion County, just northern Marion County, radar indicating maybe upwards of 3 inches of rainfall there. As you head closer towards the Norwalk area, rainfall potential upwards of about 2 inches within just the past 3 hours here. That extends into portions of Madison County. Take a look down into Lucas County, right over Sheraton. Again, this cell just popped up here within the last 20 minutes or so, and we've got rainfall, at least estimates upwards of about 1.5 inches, if not over that, just on top of Sheraton. So these are very localized downpours with these cells that have popped up, and they'll continue to move off to the east. We're kind of flanked by warnings here. I'll go back to radar, flanked by warnings here back into western portions of Iowa, out towards the Council Bluffs, Omaha area. Of course, we've got the activity ongoing here in central Iowa, and then you head back towards the Quad Cities area, Davenport, Iowa City, getting numerous tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings today as well. So we're all kind of dealing with the same situation here. We still have several severe thunderstorm warnings that we've been talking about here. As far as the rain rates go now, again, dark purples that you see here, the most intense part of the cell where we've got some hail going, but we've seen some of the most significant rainfall rates here, upwards of maybe 5-6 inches an hour if this cell wasn't moving. And most of these not at a standstill, but moving only at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. So these are putting down quite a bit of rainfall here in a short amount of time. We'll throw this into motion for you here, give you an idea of just how slow these storms are moving. Quite a big red blob, purple that you see here on the radar. Again, that's the torrential downpours, the hail concern, all within those cells that continue to move off to the south here. So we'll put this back on standstill image for you. I want to take a quick look at the impact tracker here just to keep an eye on the hail. Again, we've seen lots of reports of hail up to about 1 inch, 1.5 inches in diameter. We've got another little, at least hail core here just to the north and west of Winterset, just west of Highway 169 here, just south of Earlham. Again, hail reports upwards of maybe 2 inches in diameter, at least from the radar's perspective here. And then all the cells, again, that are continuing to be severe warned here down into Lucas County, where we've got the cell right over Sheridan. Uptick here with this hail, maybe 3 inches in diameter. So we talked about Sheridan earlier. Hopefully, again, everything inside, no valuables outside with this hail, really intense hail that's moving right over Sheraton, over towards Russell as we speak now. So this is, again, just along Highway 34 here in Lucas County. That severe thunderstorm warning goes until 7:45 this evening. So you still have a little bit longer with those severe thunderstorm warnings. Tornado warning in Madison County set to expire here at 7:30. So we'll keep a close eye on that and see if the National Weather Service decides to extend that or expire it at 7:30 here this evening. Quick look again, impacts, we'll go back to rotation as well, just to keep an eye on where some of these storms could be spinning. And again, if we've got the tornado warning here in Madison County, but also radar picking up just a little bit of rotation here just over Martinsdale. So you are not in the tornado warning Martinsdale, but you are in that severe thunderstorm warning. So there is the potential maybe for a little bit of spin in the storm, spin in the atmosphere here right over Martinsdale. But we've seen that consistently here tonight. A little bit of rotation puts down a funnel cloud, sometimes even connecting with the ground and a tornado. But most of them have just been funnel clouds here through the evening hours. So we'll keep an eye on that. The tornado warning, again, including Patterson and Winterset, expiring here in just about 6 or 7 minutes. Still a little bit of rotation. You see the greens showing maybe some weak to moderate rotation here just to the north of Winterset, and then back over north and east of Patterson and right over Martinsdale. So want to keep a close eye on that. We've got, again, quite a bit of rain. Give you a check on the lightning too, because really there's been so much lightning with all of these cells it kind of overtakes the radar picture here, but tons of lightning down towards Sheridan and Lucas County, and then also up towards Madison and Warren County. Upwards, between these two clusters of cells here, upwards of maybe 1,000 lightning strikes here. So lots of, as Jason said, electricity going on in these storms as they continue to move off to the south. So we'll keep an eye on that. We've got the tornado warning for Winterset, again, still going for another 5 minutes. Hail and wind, probably the biggest concerns here, at least for the time being, for the severe thunderstorm warnings, especially over towards the Sheraton area, Lucas County. We've gotten lots of reports of hail in that vicinity. So Radar's still estimating maybe 2-3 inch hailstones there in diameter. So significant hail, some strong winds as well. We'll continue to monitor these. We'll go back to wider view here just to give you a quick look. Again, most of those storms basically along and south of I-80, not only here in central Iowa, but also into western and eastern portions of the state. So that's where the front is. It's going to continue to move to the south, and it's going to push all those storms to the south. But it's likely we'll see a few more storms redevelop overnight tonight into tomorrow morning, of course. So that'll be our concern later tonight, though. We want to keep a close eye here on these storms, Jason, and keep people aware of the other threats that are out there right now.
Yeah, and hopefully we start to see these die down a little bit. The problem is, though, there's just so much energy in the atmosphere that these can tap into. And we've got a couple boundaries roaming around that just keep pushing that air and that moisture back up and firing these storms off. So you can still see some rotation. It's kind of sparked back up a little bit through that warned polygon that we have in Madison County. That's just a few minutes now from expiring. Again, that goes through 7:30, so we'll see what they decide to do with that, but these storms continue to grow to the west as this boundary advances to the west, and that would be the prime area where we'd be likely seeing any signs of that rotation right now. So it looks like, did they just issue another one, Ann? Yeah, so it looks like we're getting an extension of that warning. And again, no surprise there, as this has continued right along this boundary is likely where we're going to continue to see the best chances for rotation. And the other boundary that we have seen out there right now is a little bit harder to see. It's going from west to east. So as this very apparent boundary continues to push westward, it's going to uptick the risk for any tornadic development as it advances, because we've got two different wind fields that are colliding, and you can get that rotation that's necessary for tornadic development as they do that. And that's why these are kind of weird looking tornado polygons. You've got them largely from west to east in a smaller area, but that's the area where we have the highest likelihood for any of that rotation to take place. So I'm going to hop back over to our shear tracker here, which has been pretty good at picking up on these areas of rotation, and we still have some throughout Madison County, eastward towards Bevington. Not quite as clear of a picture west of there, but as that line advances, we'll likely see some of those start to pop up and start to strengthen a little bit and bring in that potential for any funnels or any tornadic circulation that we may see. Besides that, look at the winds we've got north of Bevington. Very strong winds associated with this, likely 50 miles per hour or so, that are going to be racing their way to the southwest associated with these storms. So I know we've been talking a lot about the potential for funnels, the potential for tornadoes, and the potential for large hail, but there is at least a lower level wind threat that's associated with these, and as we head into the evening, we may see even that uptick a little bit as we get a little bit more energy. So Norwalk right now likely seeing some very strong winds. I'll hop back over to radar. Don't want to forget about the storm that we've got to the south near Sheridan, and you can see very strong stuff continuing to push its way to the south. So I'll zoom in on that one, and we'll take a look at what that storm has to offer right now. But you can see the core of it in purple there. That's west of Melrose, southeast of Sheridan. Shear tracker, not seeing anything too crazy right now. Perhaps a little bit of interaction with that outflow boundary near Millerton. And as we look at radar, that would be right where that is right now. So we'll see if that continues to develop at all. Again, wouldn't be surprised to see some funnel development in that neck of the woods. May not be as strong as the rotation or as the potential rotation that we're seeing to the storms that are a little bit further off to the northwest. But looking at these right now, I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and we're going to look at a couple different tools that we have that could better identify some of these boundary features that are working their way through. You can see that one there. That's pretty apparent on our reflectivity radar that shows how heavy the rain might be. But even on this, you can see the wind flow associated with that. Hop into our velocity product, which just reads raw wind speed from the radar. And we'll look at debris tracker too and see if anything pops up there. Again, I'm not really expecting anything to. Usually when you get a stronger tornado, that's when you see any debris lofted. You get these weaker tornadoes, and a lot of that debris stays near the ground because there's just not the wind strength to push it up into the storm and into the atmosphere, but still can do some damage. So you can see still pockets of that rotation. We've got the warning that we had to the east of there expired. Again, the boundaries have pushed further to the west, so any rotation is a little bit less likely as we get a little bit further to the east. But there's the boundary that we're tracking, and that front that Ann was talking about is draped right along here. May as well be a kind of a wavy plus sign to the northwest of Winterset right now. So that's the main area where if we were to see any tornadic development, that would likely be it. East of there, again, you've got the hail, you've got the very heavy rain. We'll hop back over to our impact tracker here, and you can see that kind of elongated area where we have got that hail. We may see that weaken a little bit. Again, we're pushing 730 right now, so we'll see how long these little guys can hang on. But to the north of Winterset, in the next, I'd say, half hour or so, you're likely going to be talking about some decent hail. That's going to be pushing its way into town. Again, rotation, not really that crazy where you are. That's largely going to be west of you, but if you look off to the west, there's a chance that we could even see some funnel development because of the boundary interaction that we've got going on right there. Otherwise, again, very heavy rain associated with the storms that we have got. They have weakened as you get further to the east, though. Indianola eastward, those storms have really dropped off. The main catalyst for these storms has been these boundary features, and that's why we're continuing to keep a very close eye on where they're advancing and how they're moving, because those are kind of carrying the threat along with them. It shoots that moisture up into the air and briefly makes it very strong, as we've seen that area from Winterset east towards Indianola. But without a lot to hold these storms together, it can be hard for them to sustain themselves in that type of a way without the ability to stay organized. Down near Sheridan, becoming just a little bit messier. As we look at the impact tracker there, you can see kind of a split dual hail core there. So nice to see that ramping back down. Not likely seeing the 1.5 to 2 inch hail plus hail that we have seen. Could see still around an inch hail associated with that, but thankfully seeing that kind of drop off a little bit. Although a caveat to that is you see that hail core start to drop out. That means the strength of the storm has dropped a little bit, and that's when a lot of the bigger hail can actually fall out of that storm. So likely seeing a little bit of big hail make its way down to the ground near Sheridan. And you can see that storm as it works its way northwest of Albia is a little bit weaker as far as hail is concerned. We'll take a look at the winds here. Nothing too terribly concerning with winds, though. As those hail cores drop out, some of that strong wind can even rush to the ground. So we're still talking about, again, hail, potential for some wind with the storms to the southeast, though these have become a little bit more ragged in nature near Sheraton. So hopefully we start to see those become a little more disorganized and we can get the severe threat dropped off of there. But as we look a little bit further to the northwest, again, that area where we're seeing those boundaries advance to the west, still seeing the potential for some rotation there. Again, Winterset, you're on the edge of some pretty big hail, though even the hail cores here have split a little bit and weakened a little bit. So good news there. As we go back to the shear tracker, again, it's really weakened that area of rotation that we had seen east of Winterset, and even that main area where the boundaries have been interacting, we've seen that weaken. So still likely, though, could see some funnels. We'll see if that can have enough rotational strength to carry that down to the ground. But that's the reason why they've expanded this warning westward. And that's going to be with us for a bit. That goes through 8 p.m. So we'll likely be staying on with you until that's either expired or canceled. But again, with how today has gone and with how many funnels we have seen with where these boundaries are interacting, I would bet that we see this continue throughout that 8 p.m. time frame. But areas like the metro, again, you're doing fine now. Storms are south of you, front is south of you, so that threat is gone. Again, Ankeny, Adel, west towards Guthrie Center as well. But you get westward towards Harlan, and you can see strong storms continuing to even push to the east. So we're likely going to be seeing more storms working their way in from Nebraska. As we head into the overnight, we'll likely continue to see more as well. So strong storms, I'll zoom back in on these, and you can see the motion on these a little bit quicker, though over the last few scans that storm has weakened some. But those are pushing their way to the northeast, and I do want to take a look at those because those are going to start to work into areas like Harlan, east towards Walnut, Avoca, and Elkhorn. Shelby, again, a pretty strong hail core there. And you can see does have some rotation associated with that and some very strong winds. So as these start to enter areas that can reach our signal, again, we're going to keep an eye on that. But for right now, kind of on the western edge of the state, they've got tornado warnings out there too. So zooming back in on the main core of storms that we have been tracking, you can see that boundary continues all the way from that tornado warning down into the storm in Sheridan that has caused rotation, where we've got that tornado warning. We look at the impacts, see if that has been weakening. That hail core has been dropping near Madison County and down near Lucas County as well. And that's good, again, good news to see, although we do have some very heavy rain associated with these. As we look at our rainfall rates, still pockets where we've got maybe 3-4 inch plus rainfall per hour, but even those have been lessening. So still likely dealing with some ponding in spots as that rain continues to fall very heavily. We'll hop back over to radar here. I want to zoom back in on this little area that has been the main cause for concern. And you can still see that boundary feature expanding westward, and of course, almost like a bow and arrow, pointing off to the west into that tornado warning polygon. So hopping back over to our shear tracker here. Again, no huge dots where we're seeing strong rotation, but again, with how thin a lot of these funnels can be a little bit harder to pick that up on radar. Though we have seen some decent signatures throughout the course and the evolution of these storms. You can still see some broad rotation that we're seeing northeast of Winterset and west of Indianola. We get a little bit further to the south here, make sure nothing's popping up. Well, maybe just a little bit of stronger rotation south of Sheridan there. That would be where that outflow boundary is a little bit further to the south of there. So that may just be a radar figment, but you can kind of see where that stretches beyond Corydon all the way up to southwest of Osceola or so. Impact tracker, again, still seeing quite a bit of hail south of Sheridan. That hail threat's going to continue to carry its way to the south. So areas like Corydon will eventually be under the gun for that. Wouldn't doubt that they do extend some of these with the confirmed hail that we did see in Sheridan with the radar signature lining up with that. So as we zoom a little bit back further to the north, again, had some funnel reports on this. We'll see if we've had any more, but it looks like most of the funnel reports have been east of that polygon that we're seeing, and we're still seeing at least some potential here. So we'll likely continue to see some development as this boundary shifts its way to the west. And we've got the core of that storm just over Winterset now. So Winterset, brace yourself for some heavy rain. Brace for the potential for some decent hail in spots up to around 1 inch to 1.5 inches associated with the storm that's pushing its way on through. And Ann, I see you tracking some other stuff over there. What are you looking at?
I was just looking, getting a quick look here. We've got another tool that sometimes we utilize, the hail tracker, and if I put this into motion, you'll see the purples and the blacks kind of populate here as those warnings get issued here across the metro area. This is just kind of a radar tool that we can use to just kind of figure out where the hail has potentially been and where it's going. And you can see with all of the severe thunderstorm warnings that we had here in Warren and Madison counties, even over closer towards Adair County as well, that hail kind of creeping in there and kind of followed the warning. So, and again, those have been where we've seen reports, or at least had some reports from the National Weather Service picking up on some of that hail. So these are kind of the hail trackers. So the hail swath, that's kind of where it's been focused on. That center part of the storm continues to shift off to the west. Let me go a little bit further south, because again, with the storm right over Sheridan, we've gotten reports there. We've gotten reports in portions of Marion County with hail as well, just to the south and west of Knoxville, but also right over Sheridan. That's where we've seen some of that bigger hail that's potentially come down. So Highway 34, Lucas County, it's likely that you've seen some hail with that cell that's come through already this afternoon and into this evening now. Lots of lightning, as Jason and I have been talking about here with these cells, especially over Sheridan, and now kind of upticking just a little bit into Madison County over towards Winterset, giving us an idea that this potentially could be strengthening, at least this cell could be strengthening just a little bit as it continues to move off to the west here at about 20 miles per hour. We'll put a quick track on that just to give you an idea and see if we've got any other spots in line of this tornado warning. Again, Winterset, that rain getting to you right now, that cell continuing to push off to the west, and then Harrison likely in the next 30 minutes or so with the rain, the thunder, and the potential for some significant hail. Most of these winds have been upwards of maybe 50, 60 miles per hour. So wind and hail are big concerns, but of course we've seen all of the funnels that have been popping up around Iowa here today, and that's going to likely continue. We'll get a quick look at rainfall rates. We've been talking about it a lot, but quite a bit of downpour action here within these cells here, along with the hail, the wind, and the lightning. So again, these all tapping into all of the moisture that we have in place with our dew points sitting well into the 70s. So that's where they're getting some of that energy. Of course, we've got the boundary that we've been talking about that's drifting off to the south. We've got pretty significant rainfall too within this cell. This is again just in Lucas County, Sheridan. Again, we've been taking a look at these over the last 30 minutes or so. Most of those rainfall rates, at least radar indicated upwards of 6 to 7 inches here per hour. So if this cell wasn't moving, we know it's moving, but it's at a smaller or slower pace than typical, dumping quite a bit of rainfall here. We'll do a quick check on just how much rainfall potentially has been radar indicated now over the last 3-4 hours here in Sheridan. So up to about 2 inches here within the last 3 hours. That's going to continue to change and continue to update as those cells slowly kind of sag off to the south and east. We'll head closer into the metro, Indianola, places like Knoxville or just north of Knoxville up towards the Pleasantville area. Picking up quite a bit of rainfall here from all of these storms, up to maybe about 2.5 inches here into portions of Marion County, northern Marion County, over towards Norwalk, maybe 2 inches or so here. So quite a bit of rainfall as expected here with these storms as they continue to kind of gain a little bit of energy, or at least in some spots gain a little bit of energy. So we still have the severe thunderstorm warning for Warren County. That goes until 7:45, so just a couple more minutes left on that warning. The tornado warning that's included in Madison County, that goes until 8 o'clock now. And so we've got another good 15, 20 minutes on that warning, and we still have the one severe thunderstorm warning down towards Lucas County, also set to expire at 7:45. We'll see what the National Weather Service decides to do, because we continue to see a good hail core here within the storm in Sheridan. Again, where you have the darker purples, even the blacks here, and I'll step out of the way so you can kind of get a better picture of this. You can see hail potentially upwards of maybe 1 inch, 2 inches, 2 inches here in diameter. So again, lots of hail with all of these cells here. Most of the reports that we've gotten have been upwards of maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches. So we'll zoom back out, give you a wider view here, and I'll switch it back to radar just so we can kind of keep a look on what's happening. Most of this activity, again, all along or south of I-80. We've got clusters of storms, as Jason pointed out, moving out of the Omaha area into western portions of Iowa that we need to keep our eye on. And then we've got the couple storms that are just south of Des Moines and into southern Iowa now over Sheraton. And then, of course, the activity out towards eastern Iowa. So all the activity basically along and south of I-80 here this evening. We'll continue to monitor those storms out in western Iowa. There will be another potential for some stronger storms to redevelop here overnight tonight, and stick with us as you're sleeping this evening into the pre-dawn hours on Wednesday. So have a way to get those warnings. If you are going to bed over the next couple of hours, have those have your phone on loud so your notifications aren't silenced. If you have a weather radio, that's great too. We want to keep you alert of these warnings if you are in danger, if you need to go to the lowest level of your house. So most of these, again, moving off to the south here. I don't know if we've gotten any new reports from the National Weather Service or little storm reports. I don't think we have. So they'll continue with these warnings at least until they expire. Those severe thunderstorm warnings should expire likely within the next minute, so we'll see what they do with that. And then the tornado warning, again, out towards Madison County, going until 8 o'clock. And there's still a little bit of rotation, at least in that severe thunderstorm warning here into Madison County. So you could, again, continue to see some funnel clouds, a lot of them producing funnel clouds, but not making connection with the ground. So we've gotten a lot of pictures of that here this afternoon and evening. We'll head back closer down towards Lucas County, Sheridan, Corydon, a little bit of rotation here just to the north of Corydon as well. So little spots there with rotation that we want to keep our eyes on, and we'll continue to see what the National Weather Service does, and it looks like those polygons have expired. So the storm down towards Sheridan, Lucas County, that's expired. No more severe thunderstorm warning there. And then we've just got the one cell, Jason, it looks like, into Madison County and Adair County that's left.
Yeah, and hopefully we continue to see those weaken as well. Again, we've been tracking, if you are just tuning in, we've been tracking kind of a couple boundary features that have set up, and those have been the catalyst for a lot of storm development, and those have also been the catalyst for areas of rotation that have been putting down some funnels and have even put down a couple tornadoes. And you can see right where those sit right now, that's the southwest of Earlham, south of Stewart, northeast of Greenfield. So kind of an elongated tornado warning that we're seeing right now. And again, I had a viewer email me asking me, is this typical to see tornadoes and even storms moving this way? It can be when you get boundaries like this. Usually when we're talking about something that's producing a tornado, it's supercellular, and that's not exactly what we're seeing with these. So they don't move in the same exact way, but they still can produce, again, weak funnels, weak tornadoes that make their way down to the ground. And that's the boundary right there, and it's intersecting a boundary that's moving from west, well, that's situated from west to east and moving southward. So still, though, some decent cores in spots. You can see just to the north of Winterset, we continue to have a pretty stout, healthy core with that storm. And you can see that's even upticked a little bit, so likely still producing some hail to the tune of around 1 inch to perhaps 1.25 inches with that cell. And just the mess of funnel reports we've had, and even some tornado reports that we've had. This one to the southeast of Van Meter. So brief tornado dropping up and down near 105th Avenue and Timberview. Again, that was a little bit earlier. That was at 6:43, so just going on over an hour ago. But that's the kind of the life cycle of these. They typically don't live that long. They go down, they touch down, can cause some damage, though the damage typically isn't as widespread and not as severe, but still a tornado nonetheless. So as we hop over to that shear tracker, that area where we're seeing those boundaries kind of intersect, we're still seeing some of those areas of rotation. And as we get a little bit further away from radar, we may see some of these features on our shear tracker drop off, just because those boundaries are pretty close to the ground. And you start to get a little bit further away from radar, and that beam is going to be shooting up a little bit, and it can't necessarily read that ground level feature as well. So we'll continue to keep an eye on this as it pushes its way to the west, but at least some of these signatures may be a little bit more difficult to pick up on as it pushes its way that direction. Look at the surge of winds though. Bevington, Winterset, those areas, it's likely going to be seeing some strong winds momentarily, and you can see why we've got a little bit of broader rotation on the northwestern side of Winterset there. Otherwise, the boundary features that we're talking about, you can see one there. And again, there's one that's draped from west to east. That's a front that's been pushing its way southward across the state. So that's really been the catalyst for a lot of activity out there for us today. But again, the core right now is just to the north of Winterset. You get a little bit further to the east, areas like St. Charles, Martinsdale, down near Truro. A little bit weaker of showers and thunderstorms, but likely still pretty electrically active, as these storms have all been very, very formidable lightning producers. And as we slide this a little bit further to the east, you can see that weaker storm that we have got right now down near New Virginia. So again, not a lot of warnings on the map for us right now. We're mainly tracking the one that we have got northwest of Winterset right now. That has the capability of producing a weak tornado. And you can see this area of storms has continued to grow as this outflow boundary has advanced its way westward, and what that's acted to do is really just kind of push the moisture back up into the atmosphere and cause those storms to blossom. So again, they haven't lasted that long for areas to the east. Those are weakening. Still seeing, though, this grow westward, and what we may see eventually is this kind of meet up with the storms that we've got a little bit further to the west. As this boundary advances its way that direction. So areas like Greenfield and KC, you're not in the warning, but if we do see an extension of this, you'd kind of be on the edge of it as this boundary right here continues its advance to the west. But zooming out just a little bit further, you can see the other storms that we've got eventually going to be working their way towards areas like Atlantic. Those have stayed very strong, very stout storms out in that neck of the woods. You can see that area highlighted in purple. Again, that'd be your hail core. We've got very heavy rain. That's pushing its way upwards towards Harlan. So I want to switch over radars here as we're a little bit closer to Omaha. And you can see kind of a little more ragged. We'll take a look at some of the impacts with that. But strong stuff pushing its way to the east, still likely hail of around 1 inch to 1.25 inches or so. So as those push eastward, we're going to have to keep a close eye on that activity to see if there is any rotation in there. And we do have at least some rotation on the leading edge of that storm as it's pushing its way in towards Harlan. And you look at the shear tracker, and it agrees with that. You can see it right there, just to the southwest of Harlan. So if this storm holds together, eventually going to be working its way upwards towards Audubon. And again, a whole mess of storms out in that direction. I'll hop over to our radar, and I'm going to hop statewide here for you. And you can see all the activity that we have in Nebraska. That is eventually going to push its way eastward and southeastward and make its way into the state as well. So we've got quite a bit of activity out there right now through central and southern portions of the state, but we will likely see more of that through the overnight, which could as well be strong to severe. And it looks like we do have another severe thunderstorm warning. You've got that pulled up right now, Ann?
Yeah. The cell that was moving through Sheridan, so it's southern portions of Lucas County down into Wayne and Appanoose counties. This goes until 8:30 this evening, so they did extend that severe thunderstorm warning. Hail up to maybe 1 inch, 1.25 inches in diameter. We've got a little spot here where we've got hail, at least radar indicated with our weather tools that we have here, our product. 2-inch hail in diameter potentially just to the north and east of Millerton. So this is main core of this storm, I would say, just to the east of Highway 14, at least where you've got some of those little spots of pink and purple here showing up. So Millerton also included in this warning, Promise City, Corydon, of course, Derby, Sheridan, you are not included in the severe thunderstorm warning. So the worst of this storm already went through central portions of Lucas County, and now is going to go sink down to the south and west. So let me zoom out here, and I'll put a quick track on this for you just to give you a quick look. We'll put this into motion. You can kind of see kind of expanding here, again, right along that outflow boundary that Jason's been talking about. So gaining just a touch of steam, if you will. We'll put a quick track on this, and it's moving, I believe, at about 20, 25 miles per hour. So again, Corydon, worst of this, basically on your doorstep, but will be in your neighborhood here in the next 20 minutes or so. So hail with this and some stronger winds potentially, maybe 50 miles per hour or so on this cell. We haven't been able to pick up too much on, at least velocity wise, on the winds of this storm, but hail all kind of within the main core of this storm here. And that stretches, again, right over Highway 65 back to Centerville and Appanoose County are also included here in this warning. So want to make you aware of that. Again, lots of lightning with this cell and quite a bit of rainfall, as we've been mentioning. These are going to be kind of the same threats here as we move through the next hour or so. Rainfall rates, at least with the heaviest rain, the most intense part of this storm, upwards of maybe 6-7 inches per hour here. So ponding on roadways to be expected with any of these cells. Again, you've got a lot of moisture out there that these storms are tapping into. So a little bit of concern there with some ponding on roadways, and they're now starting to pick up steam, at least the ones down to the south. And by steam, I mean just kind of moving a little bit quicker than what we've seen earlier this evening. This cell, again, moving at about 20, 25 miles per hour. So good news there, it's not going to stay over the same area for a prolonged period of time. It is going to get going as it continues to do so. So again, that severe thunderstorm warning does include central portions of Wayne County and Appanoose counties. That goes until 8:30 this evening. We'll put on the rotation tool, and again, okay, so this is the first time I'm looking at this, picking up potentially maybe on some stronger rotation here just to the north and west of Corydon, and also to the north and east of Corydon. So keep that in mind there. I don't think we've had any reports coming from this part of the state so far with this cell, but we know it's had a history of producing some significant hail and wind, and now at least the radar wanting to pick up on just a touch of rotation within Wayne County. So want to keep a close eye on that, Jason, as the severe thunderstorm warning goes until, well, another 30, 35 minutes or so. And then the tornado warning up towards Madison County should be expiring here in the next 6 to 7 minutes, I'd expect. So that's the only tornado warning that we have up towards Madison County. Otherwise, these are just severe thunderstorm warnings with hail and wind concern right now.
Yeah, and we haven't had any more reports out of this storm, but you can see how it's ramped up in intensity. Even over the last few scans of radar, this has really started to grow as this has advanced its way to the west. And you can see it just blossoming there, which likely means the hail core has gotten very stout as well. You can see that south of Earlham, just on the north side of Winterset right now. So likely seeing very heavy, potentially inundating rain, and because of that, it looks like they have issued another severe thunderstorm warning. This one goes through 8:45, and I wouldn't be surprised if we had some very large hail with this storm, upwards of around 1.5 inches associated with these two hail cores. So I'll zoom in on those, and we'll see where exactly those are. But again, if you are in between Winterset and Earlham, you got a pretty good chance at picking up on some very large hail. And even on the northern edge of Winterset right now, you can see that hail core still present there. Though, as we've been watching your shear tracker, that has grown in intensity some as these storms have continued to strengthen. We'll see if these continue to grow and push to the west, but right now that core of rotation is to the south of Earlham. And as we look at our velocities here, you can see that may be more of a radar figment to the south of Earlham, but when you get two boundaries colliding like this, you can get that rotation necessary. Not usually as strong as we're seeing right there, but this is a pretty intense storm that has popped up. So as we look at some other products here, debris tracker not picking up on anything there as far as anything wafted. As we look at our radar, though, those deep blacks that we've got right there, very heavy rain. We're likely seeing rainfall rates in excess of 6 inches per hour associated with that core. And you can see that tongue of stronger rainfall rates just to the north of Winterset, south of Earlham. These do typically lag behind current radar products just a little bit, so we'll see on the next update what it thinks is happening there. But plan on some very heavy rain and the potential for some large hail south of Earlham, and again, as you get a little bit further southeast towards Winterset. We're going to go back over to our Super Doppler rate, and you can see that boundary continuing to push its way westward. We'll take a look and see if we've had any further reports here, and any of those right now from just in that same area that we had just talked about between Earlham and Winterset, as where we have seen the most recent reports of any funnels right now. Again, no reports with this storm right now of any tornado on the ground. Again, if you see a box like this, a tornado warning polygon that's highlighted and flashing in purple, that's when we're talking about something that has been confirmed on the ground. But still, radar indicated means that it would have the rotation necessary for a tornado to come down. And what we've been seeing today is it doesn't really take that much rotation for these tornadoes and for these funnels, I guess, to form. So you can see the line of it as these boundaries have been colliding and that outflow boundary has migrated its way to the west. It has spun nearly the entire time. So it's not exactly unbelievable to think that we could continue to see that activity as this pushes its way to the west. So I'm going to zoom out just a little bit further here. Again, we've got storms down near Sheridan, and we have got more that are working their way in from western portions of the state that we're going to have to keep an eye on. Again, Harlan likely in some pretty large hail right now, and you can see that line from Sheridan down towards Centerville that Ann was covering. That's likely still producing some hail. And we've got more storms that are firing up. There's one that's to the north of Lamoni, and that storm is just kind of riding on that outflow boundary. That has been the cause for a lot of headaches out there today. So I'm going to zoom in on that one, and you can see latched right onto the outflow boundary, and sometimes that's even enough to get that rotation. So we'll see on our velocities here if it is rotating, and right now just looks like a lot of wind there. You can see the areas that are highlighted in that lighter green. It's likely around 30 to 40 mile per hour winds, and we'll look at our shear tracker here and see if that's picking up on anything. Nothing right now, but again, something that we'll have to keep an eye on. I know it shot up that storm and made it pretty strong, and we'll go to impacts here, and you can see it's got like a little hail core on it too. So Grand River, you've got a chance to pick up on around a ½ to 1 inch hail, and we'll see if this storm continues to develop. I kind of expect it to, as it has just really started to punch up, but likely some hail on that storm as well. So as I hop back over to radar here, you can see where the core of that is. Again, Van Wert, you're likely seeing some showers, even some lightning, but the main threats with that storm are west of you. With how these storms develop, that's likely going to be staying. Well, this one's moving a little bit further to the east. A lot of the storms that we've been seeing have been moving a little bit further south. So we'll see. And they just went severe on that storm now, too. So we watched it happen here as that storm blew up. Now we've got the potential for 1-inch hail on that storm as well. So that one has been strengthening. We're going to have to keep an eye on that. I'm going to hop statewide here as we've had more that have kind of fired up, even one south of Creston. Man, look at all those funnel and tornado reports we've got through central portions of the state. It looks like have they canceled the tornado warning that we've got out there?
Yeah, it expired at 8, so it looks like they didn't extend it.
Okay, well, I think we're going to hop back over to regular programming for a little bit, regroup a little bit, refill our waters, and if anything else pops up here, we'll keep you posted. And of course, we'll do regular cut-ins as more severe thunderstorms pop up as well. But for now, thank you for tuning in. Please stay safe, and we'll get you to regular programming.